Yep, you look good. It's nice to see you.
Thank you. It's lovely to see you too. I wanted to look nice and spiffy so I could talk with you because one of the things that I'm the most excited about having you in our lineup is you are one of the most like refined poets, and I think that you're really going to fit in well with some of the other people that we have there. The show is going to have a great range of like real powerhouse performers and some people who are such powerhouse writers that they really don't need to raise their voice. And so I'm really excited to have that kind of full spectrum of artists. So
Yeah, I am. I had no idea who you had gathered up for this, but once you put out the announcement, I'm like, holy shit, that's a great show. It looks like it's going to be so much fun, and I am so honored actually that you asked me to be part of it. It was a real surprise actually to see that you were organizing stuff. I'm glad you did. We all need this. We all need like to get in and, get going, no matter what's happening out there. So
yeah.
Thank you for that.
Hey man, it's a blessing to be able to work on this project with all the talented people. And what's awesome, Jess, is that this is something that me and my wife sat down and talked about. But at the same time, how it's really come together is it's bringing the tribes together. And that's one of the two goals of this collective so far, are to get artists paid and to unite the tribes. And so far, this first event is doing exactly that. So it's an honor to have all the people here that are going to be here supporting this as just an event as it comes together. So thank you for everything you're doing here too.
Oh, well, I am donating whatever you were going to pay me back to the rest of the artists. I'm just happy to be part of it. I just want to support the community and, give people who need the money, give it to them. I know it's rough. I've been trying to help out as many people as I can throughout the whole pandemic. And this is another way to do that. So please donate my proceeds to everyone and whoever can use it most.
Tell me about you. So, how are you doing through this whole pandemic, man? Had like mental health wise, heart health wise, where are you at?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good now. I had my ups and downs. I got sick for a while. I didn't get corona, but I had some other stuff going on. And I think it's been, for me, I like solitude. But solitude is different than isolation, and I've been pretty isolated. So I think just having the creative process of writing at my disposal has been a lifesaver. I think that a lot of artists have sort of found new avenues for how to create something in a new way, and to just kind of tackle all of the stuff that's been going on. We all have to process it, and we're all doing the same thing. We're all trying to figure out how to process all this and survive. So my son is in Denmark. He lives out in Denmark, and I think that was hard at first because I was like, oh my gosh, I can't see him even if I wanted to. I can't even get there. I can't even get into the country, So that was rough, but he actually made the trek back to the US in December to marry his girl, and took her back to Denmark with him. And so, it was like a New Year's Eve love story. It was beautiful, and I was really grateful to have him here and be able to hug him at least a couple of times before he took off again. So,
well, I'm glad to hear that 2020 is not stopping people from getting married. That's the one thing that's beautiful.
I know, you too. You too. Congratulations.
You can't stop the heart, man. You can't stop the heart.
I know. Love wins.
So now, this is one of my favorite. This has nothing to do with your poetry, but it does have to do with what an awesome human being and an amazing mother you are. What does your son do for a living?
Oh, he's a designer for Lego.
A designer for Legos.
Yeah. So he's actually working on the whole Super Mario line right now, and he's designed a couple of sets in that whole line. And so my favorite thing about, and we'll get back to poetry, my favorite thing about having him here is I got to go to Target with him and have him hold up the box for the set that he designed. And, growing up, I used to go down the toy aisle with him, and he would be picking out every Lego he could get his hands on. And this time it was one of his own. And I was just like, oh, that's a really great moment.
So this is where Legos and poetry do have like a common theme that for me is really inspiring about who you are as a human being. When I was a kid and I was playing with Legos, and I told my mom, one day I'm gonna grow up and I'm gonna be a professional Lego builder. She was like, yeah, you're gonna need a job. And and so the same thing, when I told my mom, but here you are, you're a professional poet, your son is a professional artist, a professional Lego builder. So how has being a mom and living this kind of life, how does that affect your work? Because your work is like, your voice is very noticeable. You have a very distinguished voice from the rest of the crowd. How did being a mom and that whole thing play into that?
Wow. I've never been asked that question, really. That's a really good question. I have to say that being a mom and a poet are hard because, your heart is in everything you do. And I wanted to be like the perfect mother, and I wanted to be there for him for everything. And I never sent him to school, so I was with him 24/7 for most of his life. And so I think what that does is we had a lot of great conversations while he was growing up. He's a little bit of a philosopher, and that really informed my work. I actually pulled out a notebook, a journal that I kept during sort of his middle years, and it's filled with poetry, and it's filled with, philosophy and spiritual discussions, and things that really had to do with our heart and where we were in those moments. And I have to say that it kind of astonished me to see that I had a voice during that time, even though I wasn't publishing. So I really didn't start publishing and performing until he was older, until he was in his teens. And so I think that, there's a trade-off. You do have to trade off when you're raising children, and especially for women, it's one of those things. So my voice now, I think, is speaking from a lot of that experience of being very present, and trying to give him whatever I could in every moment. And I have to say, if you're raising kids now, especially during this time period, be there, just be present and be with them, and experience every single moment, and don't hold back, because it goes so fast. And I don't regret a moment of it. So yeah.
So what does your son think about having this poetic rock star mama? How does he feel?
Oh God, I don't know. Stop. Not a rock star.
He's on stage. You can't tell. Don't you try to tell me what my eyes have seen.
You're so sweet. Thank you for that. It's funny, we're colleagues in artistry. I worked with him too. I helped him run his business before he worked for Lego, the company. So we talk shop. When he was here in town, I was like, yeah, I got a book coming out this year. And he's like, oh, that's really cool. What are you going to do for the cover? So we're like, artist colleagues, and that's very coal. We're proud of each other.
Do a little Lego design for your cover?
No, I have my own artwork. But it's interesting. I was thinking about writing sort of a memoir about what it was like to raise him, in sort of the Lego arena, so to speak. So that's a project I'm going to put on the shelf. I'll let you know if that ever evolves into anything.
Well, what kind of projects do you have upcoming at this point? So you're going to be performing. You've submitted you're going to be submitting an art piece for the show coming up on Valentine's Day. I already know it's going to be brilliant. You've never let me down. So we're really excited about that. What's next for Jessica Rigney?
I didn't travel at all last year, except right at the beginning. I went to New York City, like right before the pandemic hit, which is kind of crazy. I got to be in the city when it was still the city, you know, but I didn't go anywhere else. And so this year I got it on the calendar. I'm going to hit the desert in New Mexico and do some sketching and some photography and some writing there. And then we'll see what comes from that. But
yeah, that desert, that's one thing I tell you. When I used to tour, most beautiful sunsets you will ever see is the desert.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You know, you say to yourself, like, what's out in the desert? It's just a bunch of desolate wasteland. And once you have spent some time in the desert, you realize it is strangely one of the most beautiful and magical terrains that we have in America.
Absolutely, yeah. And after a rain, the color changes, and you know, it's just amazing. And it's always changing. It's a landscape that is continually. It looks like it's stagnant, but it's always changing. It's really beautiful. You're right.
Yeah. Well, Jess, could I talk you into sharing a poem with us today?
I suppose you can. You told me to prepare something, so we'll see. I guess being that it is coming up on Valentine's Day, and that's what your whole show is all about, I can share something from the book that's coming out later this year. The title of it is Something Whole. And so if you'll bear with me, I can read you a short one and then another short one if you like.
Oh, I bear naturally, honey.
Yeah, you do. You're so damn cute.
I'm not gonna lie, I try.
Yeah, I miss hanging out with you and Deanne. Oh, it's so fun. All right, so let's go with Something Whole. And this, I'll have to tell you, it's an ekphrastic poem. It was based on oh shoot, I'm gonna mess this up. It's Bruegel's the famous, very ancient artist Bruegel, based on one of his line sketches of all these fish bellies, like on a hillside, and fish coming and people turning into fish and all this strange stuff. And I don't know how this came out of that, but it's a fun poem. So, Something Whole. From your mouth come flying sweet meats. A fine fish knifed lakeside hung from my arms. Outstretched, we are the same, you and I, mouths agape, throats full at mere thought of things swallowed and swallowing. Our lovely land, a little mound of bellies grown, and my legs part for the finning, you the swimming, you, me the open O of swallowing, something whole.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you.